that way. How about that? Okay. This way. Stopping right here. All right, fam. Clips. Yeah, I don't have one of the clips to hang this up. Maybe I could do like that. Mhm. In the name of Allah, the compassionate, the merciful. This is your brother Abdul Wadud, aka Questman, coming at you live. Soul Journey of Life, Conscious Black Social Media. Just had a few thoughts. So we can consider this particular live another conscious road talk with Abdul Wadud, aka Questman. Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullah, shalom, hotep, peace and blessings. Just had some thoughts to speak on, based upon things that I've been observing. Many of us have been observing, if we're paying any attention to the matters that be. Um, Give me a second here. I'm waiting to make this turn so I can be, be focused on the road at the same time. All right, here we go. Let's do what we do. So, pardon my phone with all of its notifications. Um, if you see in the title, I'm asking a particular question for a reason. If you know, I don't know, how many of you can see or feel or sense that there's something mighty going on amongst us as a people, as a melanated people, as a chosen people. There's something mighty going on. Like I say in the description, I've seen us behave more courageous and become more uh, outspoken regarding systemic racism within the past decade than I have in really in all my life. Like literally, even just this past 5 years, more we've been more vocal about systemic racism than ever, in so many ways, even in the least ways. When you deal with what brought about Black Lives Matter and things like that, and then the rise of the black militia and just all these different forms of people vocalizing and demonstrating a common grievance. You understand? That grievance being the oppression of the black people, and the tyrannical systemic and if you notice, like even with the most recent events with Kyrie, and then before that Ye, also known as Kanye West, we've been you know uh, more like just directed in certain ways, um, holding hypocrites accountable, holding people who should be standing up for our own accountable when they turn against us, when they turn against their own people, but also bringing to light facts that people didn't want to talk about for a long time. I'm talking about, being descendants of the Hebrews, which would make it impossible for any of us to be anti-Semitic. If we wanted to be, that'd be like saying anti-self, anti-me or anti-you. And that doesn't make any sense, does it? And so, then this person go by. Come on, do your thing. Go. Let her go. Okay, there we go. Good job. So, what I'm saying here is a lot. We're doing a lot more than than you may realize. But what we're doing, and this is why I say, speak heavily on courage, being brave, being courageous, and not giving up, not bowing down. What we're doing is stirring a pot, poking the tail, if you would, of a dragon. And I'm asking, family, are you ready for what that means? The road that this is, this kind of road that we were embarking upon, it is a road that's covered with spikes and thorns, flames. You understand? It may seem pretty right now, but it's a road that once traveled, there's no turning back. It's like them stories where you hear about they go into this cave and no one ever comes back out. Whoever goes in there, they never come back. This is one of them scenarios. Once we go on this road, there's no return. So there's only one way in, one way out. Are you ready for this? Do you see the psychological attempt to re-enslave you in modern times? Many are already mentally enslaved anyway, as you can see. But are you ready are you paying attention to the modernized version of enslaving you? To where you can have all the joy you want, all the fun you want, entertain yourself, twerk on top of cars, do whatever you choose. But don't say nothing about the master, the slave master. Say nothing about slave master. Because the minute you do that, we are going to psychologically strip you, beat you, humiliate you, abuse you, take everything that was of value to you, and do it in front of all eyes to see, to make an example out of you. That's what they're doing. But in response to that, if you notice, our response has been like, look, who do you think you are? Let's take a closer look at you anyway. What have you been doing down history? You understand? Let's check you out a little bit. Let's pull you out for all eyes to see, and see who's really being anti-Semitic. Let's check that out for size. But what that's doing, because we're speaking facts. I mean, all kinds of facts are. I mean, there's a prophetic saying attributed to the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, in which says that one of the signs during the last day would be that there'd be fighting going on, there'd be confrontation, and in that confrontation would be people against the Ish people. You understand? Fill in the blank. The Ish people. So much so that they would be hiding behind a bush, and the bush would tell on them. The bush would be like, yeah, hold up, he's hiding right here. We got one of them Ish people hiding right here. Get him, come and get him. He's right here hiding behind me. Exposing them wherever they go. And that's what's happening. All kinds of Scooby-Doo masks are being stripped off, exposing people who have been hidden in plain sight for many, many years. Pressing buttons behind the scene, acting like everything is smooth and cool. But now, because you want to bark at us, because we have the nerve to speak and just notice what's going on, in so doing, you caused us to take hold on here. Who are you really? We're doing one of those moves right now. Just who are you really? Let's talk about that for a little bit. That's what the people are doing. And that's a Pandora's box that cannot be shut once opened. But I'm asking you, family, because of the caliber of people that we know we're dealing with, and we already know what we've been through for the last 500 years. We know what this opponent is capable of. We know that this opponent is merciless. He has no empathy, has no regard for human life. We know that when you see a tree full of strange fruit and people just standing around smoking cigars like nothing is wrong with the scene here. This is the caliber of people that we're dealing with. So when this type of person is intimidated, how do you think they're going to behave? Do you think they're going to be a mild-mannered personality? Just, oh, well, it's freedom of speech. They can say what they want. Let's go home. You think it's going to be just like that? Don't you see how things are really, really starting to, the sun is really starting to rise. The sun is really starting to rise brightly, and they know it. And just like the physical sun fries their flesh, imagine what the spiritual sun does to their psyche. It's frying them right now because there's nowhere to run. Because we're talking about it all right now. We talking about all that you've been doing for these past years and putting it all on blast. Thank you for social media, right? Hide it, clip it, silence it, whatever censor it. But we keep on bringing it out. We keep on putting it out. Keep on posting it. Look at all these. Look at some of the feeds. We keep on sharing it. Keep on talking about it. Keep on speaking on it. Keep on stepping up about it. I'm just saying, family. This look in history. This is exactly how wars begin. This is a part of warfare. It gets psychological before, just like on the streets. People talk smack before they actually start going to blows. They go to blows because there's no more words. Like, shoot, we done said everything. You done called me name, you called my mom name, you stepped on my shoe, you took my money or whatever, you did this, that, and the other. There's nothing left for us to do but to go to blows. And that's what's happening now. We're the war of words, the war of minds, the battle of minds is what's going on. And, the thing is because they think that we're just stupid. You understand? They think we're just stupid. They think we're just complete dummies. Like we just, like there's not enough of us paying attention. That's what they think. They think that we're just dominated by twerkers and basketballers. That's what we're made of. That's the melanated population. Green hair, wigs, 10 feet long, eyelashes, pants down to the knees. That's what we're made of. That's the image that's what they would like us to be presented as. But that there's actually people amongst us, enough of us, that are really paying attention, really giving thought about what's going on, really calling people out, really pointing out the facts. Eventually, that's going to be too much for them to chew on. You understand? That's going to be too much for them to chew on. And when people run out of words, especially when you're a beast, when you're a devil, when a devil runs out of words to say, what do you think is going to happen next? When a dragon can't growl anymore, what do you think his next move is going to be? I'm just asking, family, are you ready for such a scenario? Because this is the reality check. You can't think that you can continue, clawing, growling, and scratching back at the dragon, and that the dragon will not eventually flare up. You understand? I'm just asking, are the warriors ready? You understand? And what will that mean? That would mean unity. Because you can't find any point in history, in anybody's story, where anybody succeeded in a state of division and confusion. There's still a population of us that's completely naive, has no idea what's going on. They're in their homes, sitting on their porch step, rocking their chair, or twisting one up, has no idea what's going on. There's a significant number. Then there's those who do know what's going on, but they're too coward or to attach to whatever they think they're holding on to, really, be a meaningful body in the melanated community. And so you got those. Then you've got those who also know what's going on, but they believe that somehow Master just must be right. There's actually a body of them that believes that we are inferior, that we should be enslaved, that we should be under the foot of or under the knee of the white man. There's a body of people who firmly believe that. They really believe that, family. They believe that, we're better off being under a tyrannical or under a systemic racist regime. They believe we're better off. And so the things, standing up and things like this, to them, that's putting our hand in their pocket. You understand? You know how that went with brothers who stood up in the past. They get upset. They feel some kind of way. They feel like Master, I got this, Master. And sometimes your worst enemies, the ones that are just like you because they understand how you move and can report that back and translate that back to the Master. Master don't understand that language, but ones that come from among you do. So, Master, this is what they mean when they said that. This is what they mean when they did this. This is why they're doing that. This is what, I was just sitting amongst them yesterday, breaking bread, chopping it up, biting the griddle or whatever they call that, biting the bit, and I heard them say this, that, and the other. This is what they mean. This is what they're trying to do. You got those to watch out for. And this is why I can understand why we're looking at all angles. We're looking at every direction. You understand? Because this is real. So I'm just asking, family. I'm just saying. We're making a lot of noise right now. There's a lot of noise going on in this part of the hemisphere of the world, and not just here, but mainly here. And as I was saying before in a talk, it's almost like other groups, other communities in the world are just looking to see what are we doing? What are the melanated, the blacks, the Africans, the African Americans, the Hebrews, the Native Americans? What are the melanated people doing in the USA right now? The only civilian group compared to other countries capable of bearing arms, capable of gathering certain monetary resources quicker, and so on. What are they doing over there in the US of A? Let's pay attention. You'd be surprised. You may not think anybody's paying attention to what's happening here. But all you have to do is look at the media and watch the news, watch them shaking hands over there with Putin and whatnot. Watch the things that are going on. And don't take any of this in vain. Eventually, pressure busts pipes. You understand? Pardon me, I just got off of the assignment here, so I'm kind of dusted up a little bit from installing and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you install things, there's dust bunnies and stuff and all that. So I kind of feel some of the dustiness right now in my part. But that's part of the job. That's part of the job. And I just got off from that. So all I'm saying here, family, is that this is not a cartoon. This is not something you see in a movie. Because sometimes we like to translate life. This is the poison of psychological programming. All the movies that we see, all these things that we watch and allow the misinformation to be downloaded into our minds, whether we are aware of it or not. And then it causes us to react and respond to our environment a certain way based upon the way the programming has affected us. And so instead of responding the way we would naturally do if we weren't tainted with the poisonings, the psychological poisonings, we respond in accordance to the way the programming was meant. So if something would make you afraid in the film that we watch, it would make us afraid similarly in the real world. And our perspectives regarding our enemy, what their mightiness or lack of mightiness, tends to be based upon what we've observed. You understand? In a lot of the films we've watched. But I'm saying to you, family, nothing can move, nothing can operate without, the human involvement. And oh, there they go. They be we got the bikers out here sometimes. This is Northeast Ohio. This is where stuff like this happens. All kinds of stuff happens around here. The good, the bad, and the melanated. Yeah. So what I'm saying to you, family, is that I had a train of thought here. 1 second here, because at the same time I gotta safely, family, safely. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the way we're behaving nowadays, okay, our I believe we would be doing much more if some of the misprogramming wasn't affecting us. You understand? If some of the misprogramming wasn't affecting us, I believe we would be responding a bit differently. We would be responding in accordance with our nature. But like I said, when we're interpreting the reality that we live in, it tends to have a spin. It tends to be a spin based upon the things that we've allowed to program our minds. And I mean, to give you an example, this whole matter, for example, of Kyrie and whatnot, think about this. And I'm pretty sure some of you have already. You got a book that Kyrie was looking at, sold in Amazon.com, owned by one of those ish people who it just happens to be for sale on the market at this particular time. One of us happens to glance across it and make a comment, and it just happens to be attacked immediately. Right after just weeks of dealing with, another brother stepping up, speaking out of something that they noticed. Like, I'm looking at my phone here, and all this red owned by all these ish people. Well, most of this red is most of the media that's presented to us. One of us making an observation. And from that, and because of their celebrity status, what a convenient opportunity to whip us down to size. I mean, we see these black folks starting to, behave a certain way. We see them suiting and booting up. We see them doing all kinds of stuff we haven't seen them do before. So we got to put these Negroes in check. So let's go ahead and make an example out of this one. We saw how he came up. He came up from the streets and rose up to the level of a billionaire. We got to put him in check before all eyes. Like this, you want to look at us like this? You want to call us out? Well, look at what we do to you. Get the psychological whip out. Beat this Negro. Oh, and you right there, you want to be nosy, and you just happen to notice what we conveniently posted on our website for sale, Amazon.com. Conveniently posted there. Conveniently for sale at this particular time. Convenient. How convenient. And we watch. Wait a minute. Hold on. One of the celebrities, an NBA player, is about to take a look at it and purchase it. We just because they got an awareness of how the internet's flowing. Everything that you purchase, everything that you buy, everything that's moving across the internet, they're aware of that, right? Yeah, he just downloaded it right now. Hold on, he's about to read it. Let's see what he does. Keep an eye on IG. We just one of their ranks just so happened to think about this, and think about the people that how can I put it? The people that own these operations. You just recently had another billionaire purchase a social media platform. I'm not mentioning any names. Look it up. You know who I'm talking about. All these things, all these elements here. One thing that I would suggest is that we get out of this mentality that just because they're a billionaire, just because they're of that status means that they're all knowing or all intelligent. You got to remember that many of them have gained what they gained off of the backs of our ancestors, not because they were clever and smart, but because this is what was passed down to them, and they surround themselves by intelligent and clever and smart people. And so the clever investors and whatnot, hey, you should put your money in this, you should put your money in that. And so they end up, benefiting off of the backs of our ancestors and then off of the backs of that. But that doesn't make them smarter than you. I'm saying this for a reason, because we look, one great mistake is to look up at people because of their wealth and somehow believe that they're more pious, more righteous, more intelligent, better than you. That's false. You might have a $1 billion dummy. You understand? And he don't know it yet because the right wise guy hasn't stepped up. You understand? Because the right wise guy haven't stepped up. The scenario of the what in Arabic they call Masi ad-Dajjal, Antichrist, right? The scenario that goes where this messianic personality confronts this one during all of his shenanigans. He's up to all of his shenanigans, and that's where he gets caught cold turkey by this messianic personality. Now, there's some people who believe the messianic personality represents a nation of people. Some people believe that this represents an individual. Whatever the case may be, look at what we're doing now. We've got these people cold turkey, nowhere to go. You got some explaining to do. Most of what you got going on right now came off of our backs. And by the way, it looks like you guys have been benefiting pretty good off of the reparations that you got from the however many numbers of you that were, looks like you've been living pretty good off of them reparations that you got. And the last I checked, hold on, let me look at my wallet. I got any reparations? I don't have any reparations. And last I checked, what my ancestors, what we've been going through, has been for the past 500 years. And it's not stopped yet, because they're still killing us. They're still locking us up. They're still silencing us. They're still trying to tell us what we should say and what not to say. While at the same time, you got other celebrities from amongst your ranks who can molest, who can steal organs from people, who can steal money and use it to their own conveniences. They can do whatever they want. Nobody says a thing. But the minute we open our mouth and speak a fact of life that happens to expose you, now all of a sudden, the game is somehow different. So I'm just saying, family, I'm not trying to rant and rave, but I am trying to, put some points out here, some thoughts to ponder. Yes, indeed. Let's see, Sister K Money came in. Shalom, peace and blessings. So my bottom line point here is a lot of us are talking this talk like I'm talking now. I'm not the only one talking like this. I'm hearing this talk from so many different platforms. You understand? So many. I'm hearing it all through IG. I'm hearing it all through YouTube. So I know that that many of us are paying attention, and looking and seeing the same thing. We're all seeing elephant. The dumb of us, elephant. The blind of us touching it, elephant. The deaf of us touching it, elephant. We're all calling out the same object, regardless of our whatever weaknesses we may have succumbed to throughout our experiences. We're all calling out the elephant in the room. So that means something. That means something. Even the people who are in denial, the fact that they know what to deny and how to contradict it in somehow tells you that even they are aware in some way. Cleveland's champion baller. You know who that is, right? Cleveland's champion baller, who's in Cleveland anymore, obviously, I know. But, this was the place where he got his launch pad off, revealing his hand, looked upon as a mighty hero in the community. But revealing his hand is not really being about the cause of standing up for his own people. Could he be naive? That's a possibility. Sometimes you get certain statuses you no longer can relate anymore. You forget what life was like on the streets. And so you become naive to your environment, to the struggle. Or you become too good. You understand? There's so many excuses that these silly wabbits use that, and they say, and just somebody pointed out, I think it was Dr. Umar Johnson put a post up. I shared it on IG. Where's Al at? Al was down here a couple weeks ago, right? It's about Al Sharpton. Where's Al Sharpton at? I thought he was a civil rights activist. I thought he stood up for your civil rights. There's two brothers right now, amongst others, who are being chastised all across the board. I haven't heard a word from old Al. Where you at, Al? I'll invite you on a Soul Journey of Life. We could have an interview and see what you're talking about. See what your views are about what's happening here in the world. What do you think about it? Are these people anti whatever? Or are they something else? Or are they on something else? What do you say, Al? I'm just asking. No, don't get mad at me. QUEST, man. QUEST, man. That's all I'm saying. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at me because I'm thinking about stuff. I'm observing and saying and speaking of what I'm observing. But the thing that I'm observing that matters, that I feel I should speak on, is the fact that we are starting a forest fire. We got a forest fire going on, family. And the thing about a forest fire is eventually that begins to make that old dragon uncomfortable. And when a dragon gets uncomfortable, he's looking for the source of his discomfort. And because of the nature of a dragon, he wants to subdue, he wants to remove the source of discomfort. But the thing about dragons, the thing about, like I said, people on high, what we read about this, we've read about this in all kinds of symbolic stories, is they believe themselves to be too good, untouchable, unreachable, above the divine law. And that's where they messed up. That's where you messed up. Oh, descendants of the Neanderthals, that's where you messed up. You messed up there because it'll be in that our 5 smooth stones penetrate your pineal gland, causing you to fall down. And once you fall down, The warriors of amongst us will make sure that your head is severed, O Goliath, so that you never get back up ever again. You have a right to be afraid of that because you know that's your fate. Inevitably, that's your fate, that you will not be able to stand up ever again and implement your madness across the globe ever again once you are brought down. I'm just hoping that the family is ready because, like the movie said, there will be blood. And, as unfortunate as that may sound, it's part of the environment. Many of us are so comfortable in our homes, in our life, that we don't realize that at any moment, any one of us, any number of us, you got to understand, this is the same people who obliterated an entire city, an entire town of people, successful, thriving, economically established, bombarded, so that you don't even know where they are anymore. So that even their own descendants are confused at what are you guys talking? I didn't know that happened. You hear them talking like that. I never knew. I never knew we did that to you guys. I'm so sorry. If you're so sorry, you know what you should do, right? All this, I'm sorry, but all they wanted, you got to understand that people make bank off of our plight as well. They make a lot of bank off of our suffering. They get more views. They say, oh, if I join the black conversation and talking, like I'm down with the black cause. I'm a white guy, a white ally. So you see their rankings go up and whatnot. Just who are you really? We've seen that game before too. We've seen when you came across the seas and you had peace bells and whatnot and came to us and made us believe that you meant no harm. While at the same time, your brethren, your kindred came around us at the other end to hem us in and hem us up. Trick no good anymore. Trick no good anymore. So all I'm saying, family, shout out to those who are endeavoring to Kentucky. You understand? Shout out to those on the road to that. And be safe, be mindful, be aware, be alert, pay attention. Don't allow your emotions to drive you, but instead allow your intellect to drive you. Let the emotions just be like like the little uh, warning signal that your cars give you to let you know that, hey, something's up. Pay attention, but let your intellect be the guide of how you deal with that, how you handle those situations. Every time you'll come out some form or fashion a victor. Some form of fashion a victor. There may be suffering. Like I said, there will be blood in this. Many of you think that this is just be something, a political bout. That's the extent of it. Just go out there, shout down the street with our banners and flags and whatnot, and go home, do it again the next day. We're not going to vote for you if you keep this up. Stuff like that. Politics. I'm trying to tell you, family, this is so much deeper than the political arena. So that's one, sector of what the fight is about, but that's only one sliver of this whole circle. One sliver. There's other aspects of this that many of us just are not prepared for. Mentally, spiritually, even. Many of us have the heart, like the one saying, well, their hearts are awake, but their bodies are asleep. Like they have it in their heart. They have it in their heart, but they're not mentally ready. But see, here's the thing. Just like a baby elephant, when you see a baby elephant born, immediately the mother's like, you got to get up and start walking now. Right now, there's no, get back up. That's how gazelle, raise their children as well. When the gazelle baby is born, I think they're called fawns. When they're born, immediately the mom is looking at them like, "Boy, get up." They be looking around like, "I just got here." Bad. I just got here. I don't care. Get up. You see that line over there? He looking at you too. That line waiting for you to not get up all the way. And if we have to start running, just saying, just saying, we don't have time. We don't have time for you to figure it out. So this is where that having resolve comes in. When you see, it's like when you see a whole flock of animals running in one direction. It's kind of a no-brainer that maybe we should be going in the same direction. Shalom, peace, and blessings. So it's a similar situation when you know that well-to-do melanated brothers and sisters are moving in one direction, in one accord, irrespective of the titles. Even if you don't know what's going on, if you're like you've been sleeping under a rock in a cave somewhere, in the sewer or something, you look around, you see, well, man, all the brothers and sisters, all the ones, the people, the respectable people, they're all going so and so, such and such a direction. It leaves you no room, to be in stupor. You know what to do. You don't have to always know all the details. Pay attention. Pay attention. Follow the flow with the conscious flock. You don't see any conscious person going against the grain. Show me one. Show me one conscious person, a person that's conscious and righteous, that's going against the grain of standing up for our own. Show me one. Any name you can think of in the United States community existing, living today. Even people who are borderline know what side they need to be on right now. The only people who are doing otherwise are the known hypocrites, are the known coons, are the known fools, and the people just out there on their silliness. They don't know what's going on anyway. They don't know when the sun is rising or setting because they don't know. Let me attach another foot-long eyelash to my existing eyelashes. Let me, sag my whatever. You understand? All these same things are still going on amongst that type of people, leaving them in the darkness that they already are in. Some people, that's just what it's going to be. That's why that's the significance behind chosen few. But the other significance behind that, because dig this, you'll see people in ranks that you didn't expect would be in the ranks. It might be homeboy who was sagging it. It might be sister with the long eyelashes. She might have been more real than the people who've been doing all this hooting and hollering and talking on these social media platforms. Some of them, the right button hadn't been pressed yet. The right soundbite hasn't reached their ear yet. So I'll be careful who we count out. I'd be careful who we count out of the equation of being among the chosen. You understand? I'd be careful. But, there are telltale signs. There are telltale signs at the end of the day. You understand? Wow. Yeah, this is what I came on live to talk about. I just want people to realize that, you need to be ready for anything that could ever happen. And stop playing this like this is just the latest gimmick or something. When a life is gone, it's gone. You understand? When you see the brother or the sister's body laying on the ground, it's done. You can't get her back. You can't get him back. And so I'm saying this because, when you're aware of the potential dangers that could arise out of this type of environment, this atmosphere, then you would do whatever it takes to properly position yourself, to properly prepare yourself, to properly establish yourself, you understand, so that you can take on whatever onslaught comes your way. This is what being mindful is all about. Leave the fantasy land for the movies and video games. As soon as you put that remote down, that controller down, real world, all around. Look all real world that you got to confront, and whatever that has in it, whatever adversary, whatever ally. Speaking of allies, and notice I said allies. I didn't say friends, because the thing about a friend is they could be a fin in a heartbeat. You thought they was your friend. They was there until you ran out of whatever you had that brought them on your team to begin with. But an ally, on the other hand, is not necessarily about what you have. It's that you are on the same page that they're on. So you might not even get along on certain level. You might not even be the same belief system or anything, but you know that, hey, we got a common enemy. So I'd rather, you, me, that's 2 as opposed to 1. You, me, and him, and her, and her, and her. That's 100. That's 500. That's 600. That's, and we all come up with the same grievances. I don't like you. You might not like me, but guess what? He don't like either of us. He don't like none of us. They trying to they trying to hem us all in. Which means, as allies, you unify on something that's common amongst all. That's the difference. You're not on the team because of something the other person may have. You're on the team because you know that you all have the same potential risk factor. You all have the same potential to suffer the same way. And since there's unity in numbers, it only makes sense that allies unify. It only makes sense, family. That means your differences, these things that cause us to be, to be divided, that takes the backstage, at least for the moment. If you were talking, you chewing each other out, and like, yeah, you said what about my mom? Hold on, we'll deal with that when this is dealt with. You and me, we still got to finish that. You and me, we still got that to finish. But for now, okay, let's dap. We got this enemy to deal with. But for now, as soon as this is over, as soon as the smoke clears, don't. And you may not realize, through the course of time, you may realize that some of those grievances were petty. Some of the differences that you had between your brother and your sister may have been petty in comparison to the magnitude of what your enemy's presenting you. So I'm just saying, I'm not telling you to be afraid of the giant. The prophet, the King David, he wasn't afraid of the giant. He might have been alert, like he knew he was not a dummy. He knew that the giant could do something, could work, but he also knew how to be strategic. He knew that the giant wasn't invincible. And that's what we need to understand, because that's another thing that many of us like to tout when it comes to, oh, what are we going to do? We got this notion that this opponent, this dragon, is invincible. The dragon's not invincible, family. It wouldn't be a dragon if it wasn't ferocious and dangerous, but not invincible. Not invincible. And so, yeah. And that's all I got to say about that. Just like the brothers and sisters say all the time, keep our heads on the swivel. Pay attention. I mean, look at, even if you look now, there's kind of a moment of silence right now. I've been seeing a few videos of people getting mistreated by the powers that be. But you could just imagine that in a moment like this, in a moment where we've been gaining ground psychologically. These are psychological wins. Whether you realize it or not, these are psychological wins. In a battle of hearts and minds, like I said, that's the first one of the first aspects of warfare is the battle of hearts and mind. You've got to win the people to believe that, hey, you are the one that's actually in the right and not the other guy. You're the one. So when you stand up, the people look at you like, and if you do suffer, they will empathize with you because they know, oh, look at what they did to them. And that's the kind of grounding that we're gaining. When you're dealing with an envious, a rebellious people, a murderous, mischief mongering people, they can't settle for that. They don't want to take no kind of L. They don't want to take no L. So that means, as in chess, this was our move right here. In response to their move, if for example, if a boycott of the NBA does become successful, that's a move being made on this board. Which means in warfare, when you make a move, the enemy makes a counter move. Are you ready for stuff like this? Are you made for stuff like this? Do you have the what it takes, what did they say, the testicular fortitude for something like this? Are you ready? I'm just saying, it's something. Anything, mind, body, soul, Are you ready, family? Are you ready for whatever becomes necessary for you to do in order to protect your loved ones, to protect yourself, to protect your honor, your integrity? Are you equipped? Are you ready? Are you mentally prepared? Spiritually grounded? Physically equipped? Are you? These are just, things to ponder. Look around you, ask yourself, is this sufficient? Will this get the job done? Think about what's in your mind. Am I properly informed? Do I have the proper acquired knowledge to handle? And if I don't, do I know people? Do I have the proper allies who do know? The proper support teams who do know? If you don't, I would take a closer look at every red flag that comes up when you do a self, observation. And I would be looking to resolve each one of those like a checkbox. Do I have that? Do I have that? Checkbox. Because that's the way battles are done, family. You can't expect that we can get a cool move off like what's happening, where we're showing that, look, we're not gonna accept that. You're telling us that we're anti whatever when we do this, that, and the other, but here you've got this going on over here. And who are you to tell us this anyway? Who gives you any kind of authority or say so over what we say amongst ourselves? Who are you? Who are you? These are moves. I'm trying to tell you, family, these are moves being made. And every move you make places this opponent in a position to make a counter move. That's the way chess goes. You move, they move. You move, they move. And that means that every move you make, and you only have so many moves you can make. So that means whatever moves we make as a people, because believe it or not, we're in so many ways we're moving as a people. Many of us don't even realize it. We still got this mentality that we're all, these Lone Rangers. But like I said, all you have to do is scroll up and down YouTube, scroll up and down IG or Facebook and all these platforms, and you'll see it. People that don't even know each other from different parts of the country. saying the same things, not having seen what the other person said, but saying what they're observing. And how is it that our words are are in sync? How is that we're all seeing the same thing and yet we're not unified? Like I said, we're unified in what we're observing, at least a significant number of us. We're unified in knowing that what some of these so-called lyricists, hardcore dudes, were supposed to be standing up for, we know that they ain't, and we know that that makes them bogus, that makes them off. Look at regular people are calling these folks out. I'm just saying, pay attention. Look at how regular people are saying, look, bro, you supposed to be about this. You got all this wealth and all this, that, and the other. You ain't supposed to be turning your back on them. You're not supposed to be joining. You're not supposed to be turning your back on these brothers. What kind of a person are you? We're calling them out. We're calling out the hypocrisy, calling out the coonery, calling out all of it. But these are moves on this board. So it would be just it won't be a long wait. I can guarantee. You better believe that it won't be a long wait for them to make their move. But all I'm saying from this, are we ready for whatever that means? Whatever that means. Or are we going to keep on taking, because the way the chess game works is you lose some pieces. That means you do take some L's. You take some L's. We've taken some L's. All them knees on the necks, all them choking outs, all them, murderous outcomes, the lockups, the silencings, pieces lost off the board. And we were already at an advantage anyway, because in a game of chess, we don't move first, do we? The melanated pieces don't move first. So we're already at a disadvantage on that. We're already at a disadvantage because the opponent cheats at will. But here's the thing, speaking of which, and this brings me up to something else. Sometimes you look for the opportunity to use what the enemy uses against you, against them. Pay attention, family. We have to see, one of the things that we have to learn out of this is that we're not less than them. You understand? You're not less than them. You're not dependent upon their opinion, their view of what should be said, what's right to say, what's not right to say, what opinion you should have, what thought should be going through your brain. See, right now, that's what they want to keep. That's the last rope, noose, chain that they've had for a while now, is psychological slavery. Because with psychological slavery, they don't need to put you in physical chains. All they have to do is keep on working that mind, working your emotions, work you up. But if you pay attention, there's enough of us who are taking note, like, wait a minute, who do you think you are? Why are you talking to me like I'm some little child? I'm not your child. Who the heck do you think you are to tell me what to think? I'm telling you, Kyrie, you need to step up. They may sign your check, but you know what? If Walmart fires you, there's always Target. And if you don't want to take either of those routes, why not open up a Kyrie? You understand what I'm saying? My point is we've got to get out of this mindset that we owe these people some kind of explanation for what we do and say as a people. Because as long as we stay in that mindset, That's a master servant relationship. That's a master servant relationship. As long as we stay in that mindset. And so that's that feeling that, that's what makes, that's, how they like to call a boy. Get out the car, boy. Like to talk like that because they want to keep. There's a psychological effect in talking to you like that. Like you're inferior, you're less than, you're beneath. This is what they're doing. You're beneath us. How dare you talk about us like this? Because when it comes to us dealing with one of our own, we don't have no problem, chewing each other out, hacking each other down, out here. I'm saying bring that same energy that I see out here in the hood right up to them. Yeah, about that what? I said what I said. I said what I said. Just like you said what you said and you do what you do. Now burn it up. Get out my face. I'm just saying, same energy. Keep the same energy. The same adrenaline. Keep it there. Because like I said, last I checked, we are, if not, we are just as much human, if not more, if you think of it archaeologically, as anybody else. So why do we keep responding to these people like they're our parents or something? You got these mics, I'll be like, get these mics out my face, man. I'm trying to go home. I don't have nothing to say to you, none of y'all. Who are any of you guys for me to say something to? That's their media for them. They take that. That's not for us. They're not asking us. They're not putting these mics in our face for our benefit. That's content for them to spread amongst them. You understand? In dealing with us. So we got to get out of the mindset that somehow we owe them some kind of explanation for the way we move. Why? I mean, look, family, it's easy for you to call yourself gods. It's easy for you to call yourself chosen. It's easy for you to call yourself all these things. It's a whole nother something else, right? When you truly manifest what these words mean. How am I going to be? When do you see gods tuck their tails? When do you see chosen, holy, heavenly hosts? You understand? Any of these kings, queens, nobilities, all of that. When do you see? Where do they tuck their tail at? Where do they deal with their opponent as if somehow they were, they were inferior or they were less than? I'm just saying. We're gonna keep saying these words, then let's live up to what they mean. I keep asking. You said you're a king. I said, where's your dominion at? Where's your turf? Where's yours? Where's your kingdom? Where's it at? Your Royal Highness? Yeah. So I'm just saying, family, we really got to we're in upgrade mode right now. Like I said, this was a moment where the ball was in our court to make the move. It's our moves right now being fulfilled, being made. How we respond to this, you understand? It's really telling a lot of what we're made of. In so many levels, our intellect, our resolve, our whatever. And the enemy can look at this and tell how much power they have, how much control they have over you based upon how we respond to this. How many of us, oh, Kyrie, you shouldn't have said that. You hurt people's feelings. You did this, you did that, and the other. See? You should have just complied. So yes, indeed, family. It takes courage to respond to a people that we've been taught to be afraid of for so long. It takes courage. It takes and it's a manifestation of more courage when you speak to them as aggressively as they speak to you. You understand? When you speak to them on the same playing field as they speak to you, not like you're looking up like, what do we do? I didn't know we said that. Please, whatever you do, just don't hurt. Come on, man. That's what I'm just saying, Like, no, okay, I said that. And this is what I meant. Now what? What do you, what? I'm just saying, courage. Courage, family. We really have to start, tapping back in to what we're really made of. I'm trying to figure out what this guy's doing here. All this cheers and stuff. What is going on? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right now, you see, we've been breaking those barriers anyway. We've been breaking the barriers when it comes to the hypocrisy that we've seen in some of these modern day churches and mosques in places, where we've exposed fake ministers, fake preachers, fake reverends, fake imams, fake people who don't really mean anything for you, who aren't really about the cause that they claim to stand for. There are real brothers and sisters out there, you understand? But we're talking about these people that have risen off of the backs, milking you, and have given nothing back. You understand? They live in lavishly, and yet the congregation looking like bums. We've been going through all that. Now we're looking at these people who keep on behaving upon the earth like they're holier than thou. Like, no. You've been in hiding long enough. We're going to go ahead and pull you all the way out of your hiding spot. Since you want to start talking now, you want to talk to us like we little children. Like we're little kids for you to spank us and send us home. Let's go ahead and talk about you for a little bit. You didn't like what we said last week and the week before. Let's talk about you some more. There should be an episode every week with somebody saying something, exposing the truths about these ish people. Just because you want to really do some boycott stuff, have an episode every week. There should be brothers and sisters that have some knowledge should be writing a post something every week, exposing, revealing the truth about these people, about the people that do wrong. I'm talking about. Yeah, everybody's not doing wrong, but I'm talking about those who are. If it's true, it's true. If you do got your hands in every bank, in every, it's not a coincidence. So now they're going to interrupt the live. It's not a coincidence that just all these operations keep them being controlled and owned by one group of people. If that's a bad observation, please explain. Please explain how this is so coincidental that it just happens to be this way. That brother shows his phone, and all the prominent media platforms in the country are all red, meaning they're all owned by one group of people. Please explain. Please explain. I wish. I mean, I'm telling you, man. I wish that celebrities would gain the courage. I'm talking about melanated celebrities would gain the courage that each one would just one after the other. One week is this person, next week is that person, and they just keep on doing it. What are you going to do? Because you can't move your operations without us being on that basketball court, without us acting, without us doing. You can't even none of that. Your operations will fail if we stop. You're wealthy because of us. You're wealthy because of the blood of our ancestors. You're established because of these things. You didn't become established because of fair dealings, moving properly, moving righteously. You became established because of what you gained off of the backs of us today and what you gained off of the backs of our ancestors. That's how you became established. That's how you did. So that's what people need to. That's what I mean. If you ask me, I don't think people should get quieter. I think they should say more, talk more, speak out more, communicate more noise, expose more. What else can we talk about? What else? What other books that contain facts about the things of way you've treated our people throughout these 500 years? Let's bring more of that to light. More. Since just the little tidbits that these brothers put out offended so much, that touched it touched the nerve. Let's bring some more then. Let's touch the spine. Let's touch the spinal column. Let's touch the brain. Psychological warfare, family. Psychological warfare. Get in. If you really had enough, stop them at the mental. Stop them there. Because that's what they've been battling us with for these past decades. With their media platforms, all of this. They've been beating our brains senseless. Look at us. You think this just happened? You think we're just out here doing this willy-nilly? No, it's constant manipulation, mind games. You got people that have no business ever being on a microphone with any kind of rhyme, anything, going big time. And many people who have any kind of ear for music know good and well these folks ain't got no business being on the radio. But because they got them with an agenda pushing this madness, that's what you get to hear. And so people that are really about saying something, really saying something, meaning something, you don't get to hear too much of them, do you? You know, the starving artists. You don't get to hear too much from the starving artists. The ones whose art, whose talent is authentic and beneficial to their own. You don't get to hear from them. You get to hear this madness, this poison. The same kind of poison that ends up taking the lives of our own for the silliest reasons, the dumbest reasons. Psychological warfare. Like I said, one of the strategies of chess is not that you know your enemy's move, but that you control your enemy's moves. A big different game when you can make your enemy move the way you want them to move. Like you move that pawn there, but that's where I wanted you to move that pawn. You move that knight there, but that's where I wanted you to move that knight. Because the next move, checkmate. It's a whole different mentality, a whole different way. When you look at things not in the terms of what you can immediately gain, but in a way that sees that uses the enemy's moves against them, uses the enemy's strategy against them. You see, the first stage is to penetrate their ego, their arrogance. That's the five smooth stones. Penetrate their arrogance. And then once you've penetrated their arrogance so that they fall down, see, right now, you consider this the introduction to some stones, some stoning upside their domes. They couldn't, this made them feel some kind of way. They didn't like us speaking this way about them. Oh. But for the 500 years, we've been called every name in the book other than our own. So much so that many of us don't even know our own names anymore. We've been using other names that aren't even our names. 500 years of this. You get called something or somebody says something that you don't like in one little sitting, one little hour, one little tidbit post, one little 5-line post or whatever, and you catch feelings. Oh man, painful. So much pain. I grieve for you. No, I don't. Not until you grieve for me. Not until you grieve for us and the things that we've been through that even you've put us through and benefited off of. This comfort that you live and enjoy today off of the backs of our ancestors. Off of the backs of our ancestors. But even if this is the case that you are feeling some kind of way, I'm not sure I believe that. For me, every move you do is a shenanigan. There's something behind it. There's some scheme that you're up to. Some act of trickery, some act of deception, some act of manipulation that you're up to again at your tactics, at your antics again. This is just another maneuver. And the main thing one of the main things I see out of this move is you want to see that your enslaving your mental enslaving our minds is reinforced. You understand? You're doing a checks and balances right now. You're doing a evaluation. Let's go ahead and put that book in Amazon.com. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we can get something stirred up so that our political agenda, our economic agenda, so that all of our agendas are moving according to plan. You know, they say if you put it in a book, that's one way to hide something from a Negro. Put it in a book. But it just so happened that a brother opened up a book and he was like, oh, what do we have here? Where do I post this on Instagram? And there's a part of me that wonders if you didn't see that coming or not, because I don't believe that you're almighty. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that you're almighty. You're not. Especially when you're not entirely who you say you are. When you're not entirely who you say you are. I don't believe that you're almighty. I'm sorry. I'm just, you may, have some brief moment of power here and there. And because we're in a state of division, it's easy to pluck us off whenever you feel. But you and I know that if we were unified, and how do I know because you admitted this, all kinds of footage of you, your scholarly individuals admitting that if we were unified, what you gonna do about it? Nothing. Yeah, it's easy to manhandle us, the trick, to murder us, to shed our blood when we're too caught up in our own selves. Too caught up in our own selves, too caught up in believing that you have our needs at heart. believing that somehow whenever we grieve, we go to you. Oh, help us, give us our rights. We'll never get our rights that way. We can cry and complain and shout and hout and backflip and do whatever we want. How can you think that you're going to get the rights from people who denied you your rights in the first place? How do you then turn around? You get beat up, slapped up, stripped off your rights and everything. Then you turn around, give us our rights, and beg for your rights from the same people. What sense does that make? That's like the zebra looking at the lion. Don't bite my leg. I'm biting your leg for a reason. And I ain't done yet, says the lion to the zebra. You thought I was just biting for fun? You on the menu right now. What are you talking about? Don't bite your leg. When the zebra starts kicking that hoof to that dome, then the lion leaves him alone. Like, oh, you don't want to let my leg alone? Bow, take this hoof to the side of the neck in my Tony Baker voice. Take some of these paps. Then lion leaves him alone. And since the zebra knows he ain't got no chance of trying to, bang with the lion, so go ahead and run. Get with the herd, because with the herd, now he's got a chance, because lion can't hang with the herd. As soon as zebra goes back with the herd, or buffalo goes back with the herd, lion leave you alone now, don't he? They don't want. That's why they try to single you off. They try to, when they hunt, they try to single you off and separate you from the herd. That's what they're doing with these brothers right now, trying to separate them from the herd. Cut them off so that they don't get any support. So then when they put them up on the slaughter block, the chopping block, it'll be easy and they'll feel justified. Enough is enough. It's just us in this battle for just us. It's just us. Just saying, family. It's time for us to man up. It's time for us to woman up. It's time for us to family up. You understand? It's time for us to black up. Really, really be about it and stop being afraid. Stop thinking that, if we don't move this way, they won't let us have this. What do you mean? Oh, man. Do you see how subordinate they've made us become to where we look at them for all of our needs, all of our, anything? Think about that. The things that we're grieving over are God's things that you shouldn't have to vote to be a human being. You shouldn't have to elect this person over this person just so you could be treated right. What sense does that make? I gotta vote just to exist. I gotta vote just to get you to accept that I'm melanated and you're not. I gotta vote for that. I don't see anybody voting. I don't see them voting for the right to have sunscreen. I don't see them voting for the right to to be white. None of that. We're the only ones that have to vote or demonstrate or protest or, whatever, suit up and or any of this to defend our very existence, to defend our right to be treated as human beings. We got to vote. Just look at our political arguments. That's what don't vote for them because they're going to hate on you. Don't vote. They're doing the same thing over here. They ain't giving me nothing either. But they did give you guys something, didn't they? Soon as the smoke cleared, y'all got hooked up pretty good. What did they say? 22 I think it's 22 grand. It might be more. 22 grand a year per person. And they've been getting that to this day. 22 grand per person. I'm just trying to figure out, man, my ancestors were beaten, enslaved. Some of them were murdered and killed, thrown overboard, forced into manual hard labor for years, built up a huge empire for the benefit of another people who don't give a darn about us. I'm just trying to figure out what part about that doesn't equal reparations. But like I said, I'm not going to, I mean, here it's like this. I know it doesn't benefit me in any way to beg my enemy to benefit me in any way, because that would be against the interest of the enemy. To help you, why would an enemy want to help you? If an enemy does help you, I would be concerned. Why are you helping me, enemy? Dear enemy, please explain to me why you just gave us this reparations like this. Like, you just, here it is. Why'd you do this? All these years, 500 years we've been here, and you ain't never thought about giving us reparations. All of a sudden, now you want to give us reparations. Why are you doing this? What's going on? Because, throughout these years, we've seen you do all kinds of shenanigans to us. You've misled us, you've deceived us, you've tricked us, you've bamboozled us, hogwashed us. You've done all these antics and acts and shenanigans throughout the years. And all of a sudden, here you go. Why? I'm just saying, when do you begin to trust a liar? When do you think it's now, okay, now we can trust a deceiver. It's okay now. See, they care about us. They finally, after 500 years, have given us reparations, right? I would be concerned. Oh, I know what it is. You're worried about getting your behind kicked by this other country. So you want things to be cool between us. We cool, right? I gave you your reparations. We cool, right? We cool? Okay, well, see, what happened was we need you on the front lines, and we need to, don't worry, we'll hook you up more when you come back. Well, we here now, Black power, Black Lives Matter. How many times does the devil have to trick you before you realize the devil is tricking you? How many times? I'm just saying, I mean, I'm not speaking rocket science here. I'm just speaking, this is plain ABC 1, 2, 3. I'm just saying, family. When you deal for devil, there's nothing from a devil that you can ever believe. We got this stupid stuff. I mean, let's go ahead and let's do that. Let's see. That's another thing that yeah, the wise ones amongst us have often encouraged us to get land, to obtain land, and not sporadically, but unified or in a way that brings us together. Because the thing about being land, about land ownership is occupation. That's where the value is occupation. You understand? Because when you have something that's your own, that you occupy, that this is your turf, you're more likely to do what it takes to defend your turf. You understand? This is your area, this is your zone. You defend it. But like I said, we see, one of the things I would say is we need to continue to peep game of other communities who've been doing this while we've been sitting here, you know, calling out blocks that we own and we don't even own any buildings on the blocks. Peep game. Peep what the each of these communities are doing that have been doing it and benefiting. And I'm not saying, that everything has to be whole scale emulated, but if something works, it works. You understand? If something works, it works. But we got so many obstacles, man. Because the minute we one thing that happens to us when we start doing something and it succeeds, it ends up being one of our own hating on us, breaking us all the way back down. The crabs in the barrel mentality. A lot of overhaul work that needs to be done. Overhaul. That's why, like I said, I understand why those there was a group amongst the ancestors that had to travel in the wilderness for years. And the whole point of them doing that was so that the the lame, the bogus would be killed off, would die off. All I'm saying, family, is be ready. Be ready. When you got things that are in the way that they are in today's time, when the equilibrium is just all out of whack, I would expect the unexpected. I would expect the unexpected to happen, and I would expect it to have the potential to be ugly. You understand? And how could you know that? Well, if things have been so soft and cotton candy for so long, how long will that last? How long will the soft talk and the clever tactics, like I said, how long will it last? Like I said before, tough talk only lasts for so long before people go to blows. That's just the way fighting goes. You only talk for so long, because then you end up with limiting words that leave you with only one outcome. Either you turn tail or you square up. Because otherwise, what are your words going to mean then? Like, hey, I'm going to do this. That's how people do when I'm going, man, shut up, because I'm going to do this. I'm doing that. And each of you going back and forth at it for hours and hours. And the people looking at y'all like, y'all going to do something or what? Y'all been at this back and forth for hours. Ain't nothing happened yet. Nobody ain't bust a grape yet. So then, I'm just saying, enlarge that theme there, from an individual to a collective. When folks run out of words, because in music theory we would call this a crescendo, when uh, when the sound starts to gradually rise up louder and louder and louder. And the purpose for a crescendo in music is to reach a climax, like a cliffhanger type thing, before the something different happens. That's what a crescendo does. Is dun 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 dun, dun like that crescendo. Then right after the crescendo, the something, the change happens. And the noise that we're making right now is almost like a crescendo rising up. Can make you only wonder what follows. What follows this crescendo? Well, family, I think I've talked the ears off long enough. I just wanted to break bread and just point these things out. That one, we don't owe anybody any explanation for any observations that we make. We don't owe anybody any explanations. We don't have to explain ourselves to anybody that has never been willing to explain themselves to us, let alone, regard us properly. You understand? So there's nothing to explain. And We again, these aren't our parents. They're not our parents. They're not our overlords or our masters. So we got to stop treating them and encountering them as if they are, like somehow they're better or greater. It's in here. This is, like I said, it's a psychological warfare. First stone, the 5 stones target the pineal gland of this giant, target the mind. Once you break down that devil's mind, what are you going to do? He's going to resort back to his beastly ways, because he knows this don't work anymore. The mind games don't work anymore. So it goes back to his beastly ways. And before he can do all that, because when you're out of your mind, when you can't think straight, it's like your head is detached from your shoulders. You got to make sure that happens and never comes back again. You stand your ground, you stand up, and never bow down to a devil again. Never bow down to a devil again. Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of wondering what this Kenneth guy is up to. He's over here with all this noise. What's going on with Kenneth? I'm seeing hearts and clowns, and what's with the hearts and clowns? Please do explain. I'm trying to figure out if you you know just commenting and I don't know what they call that, trolling or whatever. What's going on with the hearts and clowns? Who's the clown or the heart? Who's it? Who's it regarding? Who's it referencing to? And then I see the shots of ale, the glasses of ale. What's this all about? What is this all about? He says he's a clown. Well, the thing about being clown. This is Soul Journey of Life, Conscious Black social media platform, and on a platform like this, there is no place for a clown. So yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and do that. Yeah, I just kept seeing all these different things. I'm like, what is this guy doing? What's going on? Because when you're talking, I'm not always able to see the commentary, because if you don't touch the screen, it'll disappear on the phone. Then you touch the screen and the comments pop up again. Let's see here. There we go. Anyway, family. Mm-mm-mm. That's what was on my mind for the day. That's what I have to say. Because you have to show, when we show, the idea of loving your people. One way of showing love is admonition. Speaking a word to the right, things to think about. Not saying that people aren't already thinking about these things, but it's see what the enemy does is they like to repeat certain terms and ideas over and over and over and over again until it becomes locked in, and this ends up being, you end up accepting their lies as true. On the battlefield, on the side of righteousness, however, repetition still works. Reminding each other what we're standing for, what the fight's for, you understand, becomes important. because it's easy to forget for some people. It's easy to forget. Well, what are we doing here? What's going on? You don't know. You don't know that. You don't know what's going on. You'd be surprised how many people don't know what the. You'd be surprised how many of our own people don't know what the complaining is all about. Can you imagine somebody peeking their head out the window? What's going on out here? What's all the noise for? Completely oblivious to what's going on, thinking that everything is just white picket fences and butterflies. Anyway, family, that's what I have to say. Uh, I guess it was a good thing that I didn't see any of those commentaries that he was giving, because you could be distracted paying attention to the nonsense. Real recognizes real. You know, I'm just looking at all these cats walking by my yard. Hmm. I think that cat got injured right there. Anyway, family, I'm going to sign tonight. We got to move as a people. Move on code. Move as a people. At the end of the day, it is what it is. Mm. Going to make some noise. Make some righteous noise. Make some joyful noises in the sight of the Lord, as it says. Make some righteous noise, some conscious noise, worthy noise. That's what resisting means. That's what all that resistance, all that. That's a real resistance. When you just I'm not bowing down to you. Sorry, I'm not bowing down to you. Just not going to do it. You're not going to. I mean, they're not trying to. I mean, it's just it's principle. Is all I'm saying. It's principle. It's just common sense. Really, it's not even. It's not like anything um new is being said. It's common sense, if you would. I'm trying to think of. There's another word I want to say. It's just the way things is the natural chord, and we're dealing with a people who are trying to break that natural chord, like we're in the wrong for wanting what's right. Like you're in the wrong for wanting to be treated properly, to be treated humanely. You're wrong for that. You're wrong for not only that. Let's take it a step higher. You're wrong for wanting to appreciate the melanin skin you're in. You're wrong for that. You're wrong for wanting to recognize your ancestry. You're wrong for that. You're wrong for wanting to honor those who came before you. You're wrong for that. This is what they're basically saying. This is what they're saying. You're in error and they're not. They're tyranny. They're systemic racism. We're not. How could we possibly be wrong? Not only are we not wrong, but what systemic racism? I don't see any systemic racism here. What are you talking about? Deception. So anyway, family. Yeah, I'm gonna sign off. This is your brother Abdul Adud, aka Questman. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Also, be sure to show some love. The Cash App is the Light Dome, and that will definitely help in assisting this brother get to the destination that needs to be gotten to in a matter of days to come. Cash App is the Light Dome. You can see it on the. I'll have it on the description. But you can also look at some other lives, because it's usually on the description there, somewhere in the footage of the video. Hmm. Yeah. So definitely look out for a brother if you can, because that helps keep the journey. Because my objective, one of my objectives, I guess I could say, is to keep our our narration authentic and not allow, you know, would be supporters or would be, medias to capture the moment and then tell their own story and make something else, because that's what they like to do. They like to put their own spin of what they think is going on. And that's annoying. It's annoying to sit down and hear a news broadcast of something you've seen with your own eyes and then hear them tell it in some way that don't even match. Like, no, that's not what went down. I mean, or it went down, but that's not what the people were doing or thinking. That's not what was going on. This is what they do. They feel like they feel like it's their duty to tell you about you and to explain to you about you. Somehow they think it's their job to do that. Enough is enough. This is your brother Abdul Wadud, aka Quest Man. Just another live soul journey of life, conscious black social media. Consider this another conscious road talk with brother Abdul Wadud. It's been a while since I did one of these right in the ride. You understand? And yeah, you see it. Ah man, Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Shalom, hotep, peace and blessings, love, all that. Your family, take care, and have a gracious rest of your time. Until next time, take care.